So,
Go ahead.
so my question is that I just want to understand like what is the major difference between the fibrinogen and the prothrombin since they both contribute to blood clotting, right?
Mhm. They're just different substances. Like you can say, the first thing would be that prothrombin. Now, if you just look at the word prothrombin, it mainly means coming before thrombin, or
Mm-hmm.
the what is before you actually get thrombin. Okay, so it's mainly going to be as okay an inactive form of thrombin, which just has to get activated.
Okay.
Okay, okay,
And when so it comes down to the fibrinogen becoming fibrin, that's the final step of clotting, right?
exactly, exactly.
Okay. And then the prothrombin to thrombin, that's like a is that something that happens before the
Exactly,
fibrinogen?
exactly, exactly.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay.
Understood. Thank you.
So like it is mainly as okay, just a cascade of events. It mainly is okay, just simplified, if you can put it that way. Okay. Okay.
Okay. No problem. Thank you.
But what we mainly can say is that okay, once fibrinogen was converted into fibrin, then there's probably nothing that's going to be able to stop the clot from being formed, because then it's just going to just okay, those fibrin threads, if you want to mainly it's okay, just going to just okay, mingle together and form a net-like structure, which mainly is okay, we just call the fibrin meshwork. Okay, so meshwork is mainly as okay, just something that is going to be knitted, looking like a net, and that's mainly going to form what we can say as the base of your clot.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem there. Anybody else with anything else?
I had a quick question.
Okay.
It's not, I was looking at the syllabus yesterday and I was just curious for the final. Is there like a set date for that? Because I didn't see a date in the syllabus and what
No, the
chapters
final
would be
date
on
of
the
your
final.
listen, dear. The day of your final is the last day of the class. So
Oh,
what is
okay, so
written
the
as the end
17th.
date up there is the final date for your final.
Okay, there wasn't a date, but I
No,
think they told us it was the 17th. So that would be
it's going to
May
be the date
17th.
that's written at the top of the syllabus.
Oh,
I
okay,
I
okay,
can
okay.
even where are we?
Oh yeah, I got it. May 17th.
Okay.
Okay, and it would be on every like all the chapters that we've taken from the
Pretty
beginning, including
pretty much
medical
everything that has been
terminology.
talked about. Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So medical terminology, anatomy, physiology, and yes, okay. What I would call angiology, where we meet is okay, going to talk about uh, the network of blood vessels. Yeah, okay. Anything else? Okay, guys, then I guess we can start. Okay. So today we're going to start off with chapter number 11. It is still about, yes, okay, the circulatory system. But in this case, but today we're going to start talking about the heart. Okay. Now, before we get to, let's say, the actual details of the heart, let's just take some fun facts. Now, first is, we can say that, okay, the heart is, I guess it's okay, located in the mediastinum of the thoracic cavity. Okay. Now, what was the mediastinum? That was mean it's okay that space between the two lungs. So that's pretty much okay as where the heart will be located. Now, normally speaking, if we talk about, yes, okay, the size of the heart, not in case of cardiomegaly, but yes, okay, the normal size of the heart equals to, yes, okay, the size of a person's fist. So ideally speaking, yes, okay, the size of anybody's heart should be the same size as a clenched fist. No, more anatomically, we can say, yes, okay, now the heart. Now we say, yes, okay, we're in the mediastinum, but we're in the mediastinum. That's okay when we go from top to bottom. That's, yes, okay, along this line here. Okay, the heart is okay, lies at second, or like, okay, sorry, between the second intercostal space. So this will be your second intercostal space. Yeah, okay. 2, we can say the fifth intercostal space. So when we go from top to bottom of the heart, this part here, which strange enough is okay, will be referred to as the base of the heart, is at the second intercostal space, where, okay, the bottom of the heart, which actually is going to be as, okay, the apex of the heart is going to be at the fifth intercostal space. Now, if you guys still didn't remember, yes, okay, what an intercostal space was, we said, okay, yes, we had a rib, a bow, and we had a rib below. And the space in between these two ribs here, that will be, yes, okay, the intercostal space. Okay. So the top of the heart is going to be, yes, okay, at the level of the second intercostal space. The bottom of the heart is going to be at the fifth intercostal space. Did you guys get that? So top to bottom location of the heart. Now, guys, next is if we mainly as okay, take this placement of the heart. We can mainly as okay, say from side to side. Now, what I mainly will do here is we can say, okay, we can draw a thoracic cavity. Yeah, okay. Now, what we will be doing here is we draw this line here. And this is going to be as okay, the mid sagittal line. Just for clarification, we can say that okay, yes, this is the left side and this is the right side. Okay. Now, when we look at the heart in all this, what we actually will see is that it's only going to be as okay 1/3 of the heart is on the right side, whereas two-thirds of the heart is on the left. So the heart is more tilting towards the left than to the right side of your chest. Did you guys get that? Okay. Where we can say as okay, this here would be as okay, the second intercostal space. And okay, this one here would be as okay, the fifth intercostal space. Right. So from top to bottom, second to fifth intercostal space. But when you go as okay in the terms of okay from side to side, 1/3 of the heart is going to be as okay on the right and 2/3 on the left. Okay. How do we determine that? Mainly because we draw as okay a line mid-sagittally. Whatever's on the right side of that mid-sagittal line is going to, we can say it's okay, or falls on the right side of the mediastinum. And whatever is on the left side of that mid-sagittal line is going to be at the left side of your mediastinum. Did you guys get that? Okay. Now, when we look at the heart, we can mainly say, okay, let's choose. Okay. This part here. This part here of the heart. Which we mainly can say, which is going to be as okay, the lateral most and lowest most tip of the heart. And pretty much okay, it's on the left side. That is going to it's okay be what we'll call the apex. Yeah, okay. That point here is going to be what we will call the apex. Okay. In people, that's okay, or that's okay. If you are, for instance, okay, able to see the heart beating, well, okay, you can say it's okay through the skin. It's mainly because you actually see it's okay what we call the apical beat, or it actually is okay we refer to as the apical pulse. Okay, you may be able to just okay if you place your fingers at the fifth intercostal space on the left side, be able to feel the apex of the heart beating or pulsating. Okay. But this lowermost, leftmost tip of the heart is known as the apex. Okay, and clinically, it's okay, where would that be found? In the fifth intercostal space. Okay, to be more correct, well, okay, because we can say, okay, there will be a, let's do it this way. We say that, okay, we have a rib, fifth rib, and we can say, it's okay, the sixth rib. So this is going to be your fifth intercostal space. Yeah, okay. So this is going to be okay where you find the what we call it's okay the apex. By what area of the fifth intercostal space? That's mainly going to be okay where there is another sagittal line. Not a mid-sagittal line, but that's actually going to be a line that we call the mid-clavicular line, which mainly is okay, just runs at the mid of your clavicle. So that's going to be a sagittal line known as the mid-clavicular line, which means okay, runs at the midpoint of your clavicle. And where that crosses the fifth intercostal space, that's going to be where you normally should be able to just okay find the apex of the heart. Okay. It may shift. It may shift this way. It may shift that way. Okay. And that can mainly tell you that okay, as something is not right within the chest. Ideally, it's okay where the fifth of at the mid-clavicular line crosses the fifth intercostal space. That should be is okay where you will find the apex of the heart. Mainly, okay, all of the basic fun facts. The heart is located in the mediastinum of the thoracic cavity. The normal size of the heart is that of the size of a fist. Okay. Anatomically, is okay where we find the heart extending between the second intercostal space to the fifth intercostal space, where we can say it's okay. 1/3 of the heart is on the right side, 2/3 is on the left side. And the lowermost, left lateralmost part of the heart is known as the apex. And that's going to be, okay, we will find what we call the apical pulse or apex beat. Did you guys get that? Any questions?
No.
No. Good.
I have a question.
Yo.
Right. How much of that do we like? All of that information, like, do we need to know? Like, focus on, like, just like, do we need to know that the apex is between the fifth and sixth intercostal? Do we need to know?
No, it's going to be in the. You need to know that it's going to be in the fifth intercostal space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just do it here. I have my own slides too. I like them all.
It's a lot of information for like one, one part. You know what I mean?
I know, but it will come. Okay. Okay, dear. Look. So here's okay. This is where we have a picture. You guys can see the slide here.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll just make sure that I'm sharing the right thing. Okay. So what is all this here? Your thoracic cavity. Clear? Okay. So here, all this here is your heart. Clear? Okay. Now it extends from the second intercostal space to your fifth intercostal space. If you draw a line right here in the middle, okay, like this. 1/3 is on the left side, on the right side. The remaining 2/3 is on the left side. Clear? Okay. Now, this point here, lowermost, lateralmost on the left side. This is going to be the apex of the heart. Okay. And ideally, yes, okay, where would you find this? Yes, okay, there's going to be a line that runs in the middle of the clavicle, like this. So that's going to be a sagittal line. And where that sagittal line is, okay, crosses the fifth intercostal space, that will be, yes, okay, where you will find the apical or apex of the heart. Okay. In people who, yes, okay, are, you can say, it's okay, thin and lean. Let's put it that way. Okay. You may actually, that's okay, be able to see a slight pulsation. And that's actually, that's okay, the apex of the heart. That's beating. Okay. Or you can say, okay, you will see the heartbeat if you want to put it that way. Just give me a second. Okay. So where do you find that? Ideally, it's okay at the fifth intercostal space. Okay. Now heart is more tilting towards the left than the right, and that's why it's okay. We stand like this when the national anthem plays. Hand on the heart. Okay, that's why. So if you don't remember, it's okay. That's okay. That's how you mean it's okay. Pay respect to, it's okay. Your national anthem. Unless you're wearing a cap or a hat, then you're gonna salute. That's how it goes. Okay, guys. Good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we, for instance, okay, or when we open the thoracic cavity, before actually it's okay, we can mainly say, okay, well, we know that the heart is going to be, it's okay, located somewhere here. Okay, so that's okay. If you bang, open the thoracic cavity, but before we actually will be able to see the heart, there's still going to be a sac that we have to open up first. So it's something that I already have mentioned to you guys, and we call that the pericardium. Okay, now what was the pericardium? It mainly meant surrounding the heart. Okay, but what was it? It's actually going to be a, we can say it's two-layered sac. The word two-layer can also be written as bi-layered. Okay, which mainly means that yes, we will have two layers. One is going to be the outer layer. So there's going to be this outer layer of the sac, which will be called the parietal layer. Yeah, okay. Whereas that was going to be this inner layer of the pericardium that was going to be referred to as the visceral layer. Yeah, okay. So these two membranes here together made what we call the pericardium. Okay. And yes, okay, they were going to pretty much yes, form this sac or pouch-like structure, which in this instance is was going to surround the heart all around. Okay. Now, what we also had said was that yes, in between these two layers was going to be a fluid. And we made this just name this fluid here after the membrane. That was going to be the pericardiac fluid. Okay, now just keep in mind, guys, that yes, inside this sac here, yes, is going to is going to be your heart. And what your heart is going to be doing is contracting and relaxing. Contracting and relaxing. What is that going to do? That's mainly going to cause that, the visceral pericardium is going to be pushed up against the parietal pericardium and back. Okay. Or what we mainly will say is because, the heart goes like that. So you mainly will say that the visceral pericardium actually is will start ending up rubbing up against the parietal pericardium every time the heart makes a beat. Did that make sense? Clear? Okay. So, two things. What this vessel or what your pericardial fluid is going to do. Now, God didn't make anything without a reason. So, the reason number one is, first of all, is okay, this fluid here is going to act as a cushion for the heart. Okay. First of all, it's going to be acting as a cushion. Second, it's going to just reduce friction between the two layers. Because one thing that the friction is going to produce is heat. Now, on an average, your heart will be beating at between 80 to 60 times a minute. Okay, an average pace. Okay. That's, if you say it's 60 beats per minute, that's 1 beat per second. Now, I mean, each second it goes like this once. Just do this with your hand for 1 minute, 60 times. What is it your hands are going to feel? Heat. Hot. Clear? Okay. So, yes, you don't want your heart to become a shawarma kebab. Clear? Or do you? That was just 1 minute. It keeps on for for an hour. It keeps on for a day, a week, a month. Ultimately, it is going to become a shawarma kebab. So you don't want that. So pretty much as to reduce the friction between the two layers. That's why it has the pericardial fluid, which means will just act as a lubricant between these two layers here. Okay, so that the layers doesn't rub up against one another every time the heart makes a beat. Did that make sense? Clear? Okay. By back, in the days. This is nothing new. This is just repeat. That we say, there was a membrane that we call the pericardium. Why in the blue did we call it pericardium? Mainly because, it was the structure which was surrounding the heart. Okay, it was pretty much as just a pouch or a sac, which was made up of two layers. The outer layer is going to be what we call the parietal pericardium. The inner layer is going to be the visceral pericardium. Or you can even say as outer layer is going to be the parietal layer. Inner layer is going to be the visceral layer. Okay. And in between these two layers, did we have a fluid, which in this case, was just named after the membrane itself. Did you guys get that? So for the pericardium, pericardial fluid. Any questions?
So if someone has like heart surgery, are these two layers easy to like repair to go back to how they were before surgery?
Okay, dear. Now, what they mainly will do in heart surgeries is this is going to be the main layer there will be opened up. Okay. Yes, okay, it goes back to normal. Okay. Okay. Now it depends upon what kind of surgery you have, because it's okay if you have to have a valve replaced, they actually it's okay even going just okay open up areas in your heart. So actually it's okay cut into the heart itself to get access to the valves. So
Thank you.
no problem. Okay, guys. But are you guys clear about this now? So membrane enclosed in the heart, made up of 2 layers. That membrane is called pericardium. In between those 2 layers is the pericardial fluid. The outer layer of the membrane is called the visceral layer, parietal layer. In this case, we can say, okay, since we talk about the pericardium, we can say parietal pericardium. The inner layer is going to be referred to as the visceral layer or visceral pericardium. Okay. Where the word visceral mainly is okay, just means pertaining to viscera. And viscera is just another word for what we'll call an organ. So the visceral layer is mainly called the visceral layer because that's the layer of the sac that is up against the organ itself. In this case, it's okay, the organ was the. Did you guys get that? Okay, guys. Now, nightmare number 1 of the heart is just around the corner. So I would like everybody's close attention. So we can mainly say, now the next thing that we will talk about deeper to the pericardium is going to be as okay what we will call the myocardium. Okay. Deeper to the pericardium is going to be as okay what we'll call the myocardium. Now, ladies and the gentlemen, yes, okay, if you look at the word myocardium, it means yes, okay, this is the myo, which means yes, okay, just means muscles or muscle. And cardium is, in this case, is okay, the heart. So we can mainly say, okay, that all this here is going to be as okay. We can say that the muscular bulk of the heart. So the heart mainly is nothing more but a muscular organ made up of this specialized muscle here called the myocardium. Okay. And although, yes, okay, it is no bigger than a fist, although it is no bigger than a fist, but let me put it this way, guys, it's probably not an organ that you want to arm wrestle with. It is stronger than the hand of any arm wrestler. Let me just put it this way. Okay. Okay, guys, here's the nightmare. Because the myocardium, you can mainly say, okay, is going to be constituted of 3 layers. And usually it's okay when I go like this, mainly it's okay, we'll start from outer, inner. But we say it's okay that the myocardium has 3 layers, right? Okay. So that's going to be, you can say it this way. That, okay. All right. Good, okay. Has 3 layers. Where there's going to be an outer layer. Now that outer layer is going to be called the epicardium. We actually, it's okay, we'll have a middle layer. Which is called the myocardium. And the inner layer is going to be called the endocardium. Did you guys get that? So myocardium is mainly as okay going to be constituted of 3 layers: outer layer epicardium, middle layer myocardium, inner layer endocardium. Now, what we mainly can say about is okay, both the epicardium and endocardium is that these are mainly as okay, there's going to be thin layer of membrane. So pretty much okay, as if we look at it, epicardium is going to be as okay a thin membranous layer. On the outside of the myocardium, perimedius, okay, will have the myocardium. And on the inside of the myocardium is going to be as okay a thin layer, which will be referred to as the endocardium. So of the myocardium, this myocardium here is the actual you can say it's okay, muscular layer of muscle of the heart known as myocardium. But the epicardium, although it's okay, considered to be a part of the myocardium, is just a thin membranous layer. The endocardium, still considered as okay a part of the myocardium, is just going to be as okay a thin membranous layer. So just like you can say it's okay, regular skeletal muscles had a membrane around it that we call it okay the perimysium. Likewise, is your myocardium going to have layer of membranes on the inside and outside of it, known as epicardium on the outside, inner is going to be endocardium. Did you guys get that? Okay. And in between these two thin films of membrane, do we have the actual muscular bulk of the heart called myocardium? Any questions, guys? Now, some of you will say, so where in the hell is the nightmare? Huh? Nope. Here it comes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the nightmare is that if we say that, okay, this here is, okay, was the parietal pericardium. Right? Parietal pericardium. We even said that, okay, yes, we had a visceral pericardium. Okay. But, the visceral pericardium is actually, it's okay, the same as your epicardium. Confused? Or not confused? Or can I get a volunteer?
So as you said the epicardium is the same as the visceral layer. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Since you spoke, Dennis, do you mind to volunteer
So
for a
what?
little experiment?
Okay.
Do you have a nickname, my dear?
I would have like friends that called me Den.
Den. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can say, okay, your screen name is Den, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. But your official name is Dennis, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Now, what we know you as here in the class or session, we will call you Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Clear? Okay. Okay. So, when you are amongst us, okay, you can say, okay, your buddies, you would like to be addressed as Denton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, it's just a matter of fact, yes, okay, who you consider to be a part of. So here we can say, okay, well, we are the group of pericardium.
Uh-huh.
Clear? Okay. So we know you as Dennis. Clear? Okay. Where, okay, as if you were a part, it's okay, where you are amongst your friends, at that time you would like to be called Denton.
Mm-hmm.
But physically, are you two different persons?
Nope. Obviously
You're
not.
one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of, okay, yes, Right now you are in a class, so we call you Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
When you're with your friends out there, you go under the name Denton.
Yeah.
Okay. So likewise, when we say visceral pericardium, that's when we consider it as okay as a layer of it. We take it as a part of the pericardium. But that very same layer is okay when we consider it as being a layer of the myocardium. We call it epicardium. But physically, it is one single layer, or one and the same thing. Did
Yeah.
that make sense? Now, everybody, oh, Dennis. Thank you. Because,
Thank you, then.
okay. Okay. So,
You're welcome, guys.
So if you were to say like the two um sacs or membranes are the parietal and the epicardium, that's not wrong.
that'll be wrong.
Hmm.
That'll be wrong because as a layer, as a part of the pericardium, it's going to be referred to as the visceral layer.
But you just said that they're one and the same.
They were the
Like
same,
they're
but
the
they go
same.
under different names. Physically, they are the same, but they go under different names. And that's why I said, when Dennis is in the class, we would like, or he would like to be addressed as Dennis. Clear? Okay. But when he is amongst just okay, his friends or co-workers or whatever, they know him as Denton. Or they will call him as Denton. But in the class, we're going to call him Dennis. Out there, we will call him Denton. Clear? Okay. So what I meant to say is that physically it is one structure, but I consider it as a part of, or we can say physically, the epicardium and visceral pericardium is one layer. It's one and the same thing. But when we consider or when we name it in accordance to a part of the pericardium, it's going to be called the visceral layer. Whereas, okay, if we talk about or if we consider it as a part of the myocardium, it will be called the epicardium. Did that make sense? Okay, so it will be wrong, and due to that, it will be wrong to say epicardial pericardium. That would be wrong. Okay, it's going to be visceral pericardium. But that same layer, when yes, okay, considered as a part of, okay, if you mention it as a part of the myocardium, it's going to be named as epicardium. So one thing, yes, okay, one physical structure goes under two different names. But those names are going to, yes, okay, be specific of whether we consider as a part of the myocardium or as a part of the epicardium, or pericardium, sorry.
I also have a question if that's okay.
Go ahead. It's always okay, dear.
So if the epicardium could be viewed as like the visceral layer, as you said, right? What would be considered the parietal layer? Would that be myocardium? If that makes sense?
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
Listen, dear. The
okay.
parietal layer is going to be the outer layer of your pericardium.
Mhm.
Clear? Okay. The outermost layer of your pericardium is called the parietal layer. Deeper to that, do we have the visceral layer of the pericardium? Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Now, What main yes, okay, comes next is going to be yes, okay, you what we call the myocardium as a whole. Clear? Okay. Now what we said was that the myocardium had 3 layers. Outer layer of the myocardium is what you call the epicardium, which also was just okay. We consider that as a part of the pericardium, was referred to as the visceral layer of the pericardium. Then we have the actual muscular bulk of the myocardium, which is the myocardium, the actual muscle. And on the inside of that muscle is going to be another thin membrane known as the endocardium.
Okay.
Did that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Now, when we say yes, okay, visceral layer of epicardium, or pericardium, sorry, and the epicardium as the myocardium were physically one and the same thing, but just go under different names, whether we consider as a part of the pericardium or whether we consider as a part of the myocardium.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, that's why I say, it's okay, you go under 2 names. But physically, it's okay, you are one person. Okay, when you are here, let's say it's okay, we are the pericardium. So you go under the name Dennis. Whereas, okay, as when you were with your friends, well, you're still the same person. It's not like, okay, that you change anything, but you just go under a different name.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
Understood. Okay. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, but all this, your epicardium, which is the outer layer of the myocardium, is just a thin membranous layer. Your visceral pericardium is nothing, it's thinner than the thinnest paper of a membrane that encircles the heart. So is the endocardium. It's just going to be as okay, a thin membrane that actually is okay is going to line the heart. Okay, so in between the epicardium, which is the outer membrane, and the endocardium, which is a thin membrane on the inside of the myocardium, is going to be in between those 2 layers is going to be the actual layer of the myocardium, or the muscle of the heart, just referred to as the myocardium. Did you guys get that? But please, visceral pericardium is the same thing structure-wise as the epicardium. It's the same structure, just going under 2 different names. Whether considered to be a part of the pericardium, then we call it the visceral layer. Whereas if we talk about it being a layer of the myocardium, it goes under the name epicardium. Did you guys get that? Good. Then I guess, okay, nightmare number 1 is over. Okay. Okay. So, okay, now guys, if you mean it's okay, just look at it. Maybe we can use, okay, just redraw it on here. So we can see, it's okay, what did we have first? Let's go to the slide. So we can say first did we have what we call the pericardium, which we mainly said, okay, was made up of two layers. Outer layer, like this, was going to be, it's okay, what we'll call the parietal pericardium or parietal layer of the pericardium. Inner layer was the visceral pericardium. So it means says, okay, these two layers here made up the pericardium. And in between them did we have the, we can say, okay, the pericardial fluid. Now on the other end, we can say that we have the myocardium. Now the myocardium was going to be made up of three layers. Again, it's okay, the outer, which we'll call the epicardium. So this will be, yes, okay, the epicardium. We can say it's okay, middle layer, which is going to be, it's okay, the myocardium. And last but not the least, yes, okay, the innermost layer, which is going to be endocardium. And we could say, yes, okay, this one here is okay, was the myocardium, but all this here will also be the myocardium. There we go, says, okay, what was the myocardium? Epicardium, myocardium, and then endocardium. And we can mainly say, okay, on this side here, it's okay, that's going to be, it's okay, where the blood will be running through the heart. And it means it's okay, just going to be the job of the heart to pump this blood. Now, two things, guys. Or one thing first. The heart job is mainly as okay just to pump the blood into the blood vessels that's going to carry that blood, circulate that blood throughout the body. Clear? Okay. Your heart, or let's say it's okay, your myocardium does not get anything, does not benefit from the heart that runs through the chambers of the heart. Yeah, okay. But it is a muscle. It will need energy to be able to contract. That energy is going to just be provided through blood. As a matter of fact, there's also going to just be in a high demand of oxygen. Okay, so your heart is going to have its own set of blood vessels. Okay, that mainly is going to supply the myocardium. Those are what we call the coronary arteries. Okay, but when looking at the layers of the heart, that's these layers here, we can mainly say that the blood vessels that's going to just supply the heart with blood. Okay, we just call it the coronary vessels. Okay, these coronary vessels, that's if you look at it, it's going to just if this was your epicardium, and if I say it's that this here is was your endocardium, which all is were, because it's layers of the myocardium, where is we here, let's just say, let's just do this way. Say that this here is was your main myocardium. The coronary vessels will run between coronary vessels run between epicardium and myocardium. And mainly is by the branches that it gives off is going to just supply blood to the myocardium. Did you guys get that? So where does the coronary blood vessels run? On the heart? Between the epicardium and the myocardium. Now, guys, your heart mainly was able to be due to electrical signals, right? That was all what the ECG was about. Primarily to record the flow of those electrical signals. Okay, so later on in this chapter, we're going to come across what we can call as the conduction system. I will not call it system because that's going to confuse you. Damn it, that is a system within the system. So we just call it the conduction pathway. Okay, but actually there's going to be a system in the heart through which those electrical signals run. Okay, that we made as we just call the conduction pathway. But when looking at the heart, yes, where that conduction pathway, or where is it that conduction pathway is located? That's going to be between, So that's going to be, okay, your conduction pathway. So that conduction pathway actually is going to be between the myocardium and, yes, okay, the endocardium. Okay, but we mainly can say that, okay, yes, the heart main is, okay, it's going to get its electrical signals, or the myocardium actually is going to get its electrical signals from this conduction pathway, which mainly, that's okay, runs between what we call the myocardium, which is going to be the main muscular bulk of the heart, and the endocardium, which means, okay, just that thin membrane that lines the inside of the heart. Or let us look at it this way here, guys. Okay. Now this is pretty much, okay, as the heart opened up. Now what we mainly can say is, okay, when we look at this, now if you look here, this outline here, in this case, yes, okay, we can actually see that this is your epicardium. Did that make sense? All this here. Oh, let's choose a different color. All this. Yes, okay, that is your myocardium. Yes, okay, guys, if you look closer on the inside, you have this layer here, this thin membrane here, which is your endocardium. So what I actually meant to say was that the blood vessels, which will be, okay, your coronary arteries, is going to be running here between, yes, okay, what we call the epicardium and your actual myocardium. And the signal which is going to, yes, okay, a system of that's going to, yes, okay, carry the electrical signals that's going to, yes, okay, stimulate your heart and make, yes, okay, different components of your heart beating, which we can call a conduction pathway, will be running between your myocardium and endocardium. Now, if you said, okay, this one here was your epicardium, we could also say that, okay, this was going to be the same as what we call the visceral pericardium. Structurally, but yes, okay, when we say visceral pericardium, that's when we call it literally a part of the pericardium. And okay, we just can make, yes, okay, our parietal pericardium here. So this would have been, yes, okay, your parietal pericardium. Actually, yes, okay, we can see, look at that. Epicardium even goes, it goes up like this, and it goes up like this. And then it's okay, up here, it's okay, well, make a turn out like this to become the parietal pericardium. Okay, but we consider, yes, okay, this red line here as part of the pericardium. It's okay, we'll call it the visceral pericardium. Whereas, okay, we consider this, okay, a part of these structures here, which is the myocardium. Here will be called the epicardium. Okay, but in between the epicardium and myocardium runs your coronary blood vessels. In between the visceral, the endocardium, which is this inner membrane that lines, as okay, the inside of the chambers of your heart, and the myocardium, which is the actual bulk of the muscle of the heart, runs what we will call the conduction pathway. Okay, which is going to be, as okay, the system of, actually, it's okay, the specialized pericardium, or sorry, myocardium, through which the electrical signal will be running. That means, okay, causes the heart to get stimulated. All that action potential, depolarization, and so on, so which mainly will lead to that the heart contracts. And after a contraction, yes, okay, we'll relax. Did you guys get that? Now, does anybody have any questions? No? Not yet? Now, just take a short break, fresh up, because when we come back, it's going to be a frontal attack on the heart. Okay, guys? So, yes, okay, get some energy. So, you have a sugar rush, and we're ready for a Candy Crush. Have you guys ever played that game, Candy Crush? Okay, because it's going to be okay, a lot of booms after this. Okay, guys. So I guess I see you guys in, should we say, 10:40? Good enough? And before we continue, does anybody have any questions? Nope. Okay, guys. Now let's try to actually look at the hard. Okay. Now anatomically we can say it's okay, the hard as a total of 4 chambers. Okay. Likewise, the heart has a total of 4 valves. Now, guys, these 4 chambers here, for instance, if you look at them, can make up two sets. Okay. Now, the way that just okay, these 2 sets here are made may differ. Okay, so we can actually just okay look at both ways in which the 2 sets can be made. One way, if we say that okay, yes, we have 1 set of chambers, which is going to be as okay on the right side. That will be 1 set. Then we have yes, okay, the set of the chambers on the right side will be 1 set, and the other set of chambers is going to be as okay on the left side. So no matter what, each set has 2 chambers. Okay. So here is okay, we divided the chambers into the side. Into 2 sets based on the side. The chambers on the right side is going to be right-sided chambers. The chambers on the left side is going to be the left-sided chambers. Did you guys get that? Okay. And what we mainly as okay will do as we talk about yes okay the heart. We mainly as okay will be sticking to yes okay this way of, let's say it's okay dividing the 4 chambers into 2 sets, left side and right side. Other way that in which yes okay the chambers can be is that we mainly as okay will say the upper chambers is 1 set, and we can say it's okay the lower chambers, that will be another set. But you still have yes okay the 2 top chambers makes up 1 set, and the 2 bottom chambers makes up another set. Now, what would we call this set of chambers that makes the of what we'll call this set that is made up of the two Chap chambers. That's actually going to be what they may refer to as being the supraventricular. Whereas, this lower set here, which is made up of the two lower chambers, is just going to be referred to as the ventricular. So supraventricular mainly means because, it's above the ventricles. Where the other side is going to be, the two ventricles. Is that clear? Okay. Now, so for the four valves. So for the four valves. Yes. There's again going to be two ways by which they can be distributed into two sets. One is going to be based on the side. Let's do it this way, where we can say we have the right side of the valves. And we have as what we can call this the left side of valves. Yeah, on the right side, there's going to be two valves. On the left side, there's going to be two valves. The other distribution is made as going to be based on the location of the valve. Let's say it's in relation to, let's say it's the chambers. Where we made again is still will have is two sets, where each set has two valves. Now where one group with can actually go under two names. We can call them the AV valves. This group of valves called AV valves also can be referred to as the cuspid valves. Whereas the other group of valves mainly is just going to be, we can call the semilunar valves. But just keep here that as in the AV valves, one is going to be right, one is going to be left here, one is going to be right, one is going to be left. But pretty much as the four chambers, in whichever way is we divide them into two sets. along with the 4 valves. No matter which way in which we divide them into 2 sets, where each set has 2 valves and chambers. Each set is going to be made up of 2 chambers, makes up the heart. Did you guys get that? So that's pretty much okay. That's what we'll be looking at for the next hour, hour and a half or 2. Now, guys, I know this is not going to be a Mona Lisa. Okay. But my primary point here is mainly just to make you guys understand the anatomy of the heart. So it's going to be pretty boring to look at, but it's okay. We can always, go back and look at our diagram in the book. Just to make it straight right now, we can see this is going to be our right side. This is going to be our left side. So here, this is going to be our right upper chamber. This is going to be the left upper chamber. What we will have here is going to be the lower snare chambers. Where we again can say this is going to be right lower chamber. This is going to be the left lower chamber. So if we divide it into side and say right pair of chambers, left pair of chambers. Or where we say the upper chambers, the lower chambers. Now, what is going to be the name of the upper chambers? They mainly will go under the name atrium. Atrium will be 1. Atrium will be plural. So we can say the right atrium, the left atrium. So the Chap chamber on the right side is going to be your right atrium. The Chap chamber on the left side is going to be the left atrium. Did you guys get that? Whereas the bottom 2 chambers or the lower chambers on either side, well, they go under the same name. It is going to be a different side. The right ventricle and the left ventricle. Okay, so it would not be wrong to say that the heart has a pair of atria. It has a pair of ventricles. Or if you go on the right side, well, yes, we have a right pair, where the first one is going to be the atrium, the bottom one is going to be the ventricle. Similar applies onto the left side, where the top one is the atrium and the bottom one is the ventricle. Did you guys get that? Okay. Or. Just so we can look at this fellow here. You remember this fellow? So again, it's okay, guys. Just it's okay now. Right now, we are looking at a heart. So this is going to be the right side. This is going to be the left side. So what we mainly have is, yes, okay, the two Chap chambers. Oh, there's two of them. That's going to stand out. This chamber and this chamber. These are the Chap chambers, so this becomes your right atrium. And this dude over here is okay, becomes the left atrium. Whereas what we see here is mainly as okay, your bottom chamber on the right. So that's a right atrium ventricle, sorry. And this chamber here on the left. This is the bottom left chamber, which is going to become the left ventricle. Did you guys get that? Now, what we mainly as okay, we'll see in between the right and left ventricle is going to be as okay, this thick layer of myocardium. Okay. Now that's mainly going to be as okay, referred to as the inter. Now why inter? Because it is in between. In between what? Your right and left ventricle. So mainly because it comes in between the right and left ventricle, is going to be referred to as the interventricular septum. And what we mainly as okay just mean by septum is going to be any structure that forms a separation. Yeah, okay. So a septum is made as okay, there's going to be a structure that forms a separation or a partition. So here is okay, your interventricular septum is that structure that creates a separation between the right ventricle and the left ventricle, which is going to be as okay, a thick layer of myocardium. Okay. Now, what is it that the chambers are? Now, do you guys know what the word chamber means?
A room.
Huh?
Space. A room
Who
or a
said room?
space.
Who said room?
Me,
Who is me?
Brianna Moulton.
Exactly, my dear. Very good. That means room. Okay. So what would that room be for? Mainly as okay, where the blood will enter. Clear. Okay. Or you can mainly as okay, where the blood mainly as okay will tuk, 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 fill up. Clear. Okay. Mainly as okay. And what's going to happen next? That it will go from one chamber to the next. From one chamber to the next. Clear. Okay. So, but unless and until you are Casper the Friendly Ghost or any Halloweeny ghost, not so friendly, you need doors to go from one room to another, right? Okay. Did that make sense? So in the heart, those doors are going to be in the form of what you can call valves. So the doors between rooms in your heart will be what you call valves. Okay. But, as we discussed the valves, let's try just, okay, kill two birds with one stone. And mainly says, okay, how is it that the blood flows through the heart? How does it go? And okay, as we discussed, we come across the valves, we come across other structures, and so and so. Okay, guys, so just so we know, yes, okay, just so we start the journey from one point. A common point, yes, okay, meaning to understand it. What we mainly can say is that any blood that is, okay, first arrives to the heart. Or let's say, okay, the first chamber that will receive any blood that now is going to flow through the heart will come in via the right chamber. Okay, so this is where it's okay, the journey of blood mainly is okay, will start through the heart. Or right side. Okay. Now your right atrium, that's going to be as okay, the first receiving chamber of blood. Okay. Now it's mainly as okay, going to receive blood via through two major blood vessels. One is going to be as okay, what we will call the superior vena cava. Okay. Now I know, yes, okay, that the other one is not going to be here, but okay, yes, it's me, it's okay, just strategically. Otherwise, I may be just okay, not left with much room. Where the other one is going to be referred to as the inferior vena cava. Yeah, okay. So these will be, yes, okay, we can say, okay, the two major blood vessels that whatever blood they bring empties that into the right atrium. Clear? Okay. Now, guys, your superior vena cava, where does that bring blood back from? Basically, it's okay, your head, your face, your neck, and your arms. All the way from the fingertips, all that blood that's going to return back to the heart from all these structures will empty in through the right atrium through a common blood vessel known as the superior vena cava. Did you guys get that? Now, how this superior vena cava is formed, we'll talk about that at a later instance. So for now, just remember this much, that okay, yes, it brings blood back from the head, neck, all the structures within that, and from your arms. Did that make sense? Clear? Okay. Whereas on the other hand, the inferior vena cava, that mainly as okay, brings blood back to the right atrium that returns from any structure in your abdomen your pelvis, and your legs. So blood pretty much, okay, any blood that mainly okay returns back from structures which lies from your diaphragm and below is going to return back to the right atrium through the inferior vena cava. Did you guys get that? Okay. Now, one other little fellow. And we can make this okay. See here. And this is going to be as okay what we will call the coronary sinus. Clear? Okay. So what is that going to do? That is mainly going to just okay bring blood back from the coronary vessels. Blood that has been supplied to the myocardium. But now it's okay needs to return back to the heart. Or let's say okay, circulation of blood in the chambers. That blood will empty into the right atrium through what you call the coronary sinus. Which means there's going to be a small opening on the posterior wall of your right atrium. Clear? So any blood that's going to return back from all these structures that we just mentioned, the heart, structures in the head, neck, arms, and any structure from the diaphragm and below, all the way to your toe tips, returns back via these respective vessels into the right atrium. Did you guys get that? Now just think of it as okay, the first day you came to the school to sign up. You entered as okay, the main entrance, right? The reception area says, okay, I'm here to see so and so. And they may say, okay, well, okay, he or she's going to be ready to take a seat. You're in the right atrium. Now that person that you are supposed to talk to comes out, greets you, and what did they do? So okay, well, just follow me, and okay, they take you into a room, right? The office. Okay, how did you walk into that office? Well, okay, as you probably enter from the main reception area into that office via a door. So guys, now we're going to talk valves. Because between the right atrium and left atrium is going to be the first valve. Yep, okay. Now this valve here, now actually it's has, yes, it's going to be what we will call the tricuspid valve. Okay. The name of this valve between the right atrium and the left atrium is the tricuspid valve. And just in a little bit, okay, we will talk about, okay, why in the blue is it that we call it the tricuspid valve? But just realize that. Now, what we mainly can say is that, okay, now the blood that had returned back from all the structures in the body left the atrium and went into the ventricle via the tricuspid valve. Now, before talking about what's going to happen to this blood next, just think of it. This has been blood that has circulated through, that's okay, the body, has been dropping off oxygen, nutrients, goodies to the tissues. And what was it that I said that the tissues were going to return to the blood or give to the blood in return of that oxygen? Carbon dioxide, which your body pretty much, okay, needs to get rid of. Or let's say it's okay that the blood needs to get rid of. So what does that mean? That this blood now has to make a trip through the lungs. Mainly so that, okay, that carbon dioxide that this blood here was carrying would be exhaled out. And in the lungs would be exchanged for fresh oxygen, which we already had inhaled. Did you guys get that? So from the right ventricle, okay, now I know that's okay, it's going to be somewhere up here, but maybe that's okay, just, we can say it's okay strategically. We can mainly say it's okay that there will be, it's okay, another valve down here. We mean it's okay, I'm going to put it here. And this valve here is okay, is going to be, it's okay, we can say the lower valve, or the other valve, and we mean it's okay, call this one here the pulmonary valve. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason that we mainly call this one here the pulmonary valve is mainly because it's going to open up into a blood vessel. And you start to see some similarities as we go from right to left. But this blood vessel here mainly is going to be, yes, okay, what we can call the pulmonary artery. So the reason that this valve here actually is called the pulmonary valve is because it's named after the vessel that it opens into, which is going to be, as okay, the pulmonary artery. Now here the word pulmonary mainly as okay just means, okay, that was probably a wrong color for the ventricles. Okay, that's fine. Actually, it's okay means lung. So pulmonary artery actually is okay, is going to be a blood vessel that has to do with, okay, some blood flow to the lung. Now here's going to be to the lung because this is a pulmonary, this is an artery. Okay. But without any SOK, what's going to happen is that the pulmonary artery, mainly SOK, will take the blood from the right ventricle, the left and right ventricle via the pulmonary valve to the lungs. And ladies and gentlemen, what normally happens in the lungs is, well, okay, whatever carbon dioxide was brought by this blood, which means, okay, tick, 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 just return back from all the body structures. That is going to be exhaled out. And mainly as okay as an exchange, because it's an exchange between oxygen and carbon dioxide. The blood, as it flows through the lungs, is going to as okay get rid of the carbon dioxide and pick up oxygen. Yep, okay. Now this blood that mainly as okay was brought to the lungs via the pulmonary artery is going to be able to as okay leave the lungs just to go back to the heart. Okay. Now we don't want okay the blood that is freshly loaded with oxygen getting mixed with the blood which was low in oxygen and high in carbon dioxide to get mixed up with one another. So that's why okay the blood that now is going to okay return back to the heart is going to do so. Is going to okay empty into the left ventricle. Pretty much okay via what we in this case ever call the pulmonary vein. Now, why do we call it a pulmonary vein? Pulmonary is okay mainly because it has something to do with, we can say, okay, the lung. Okay, now, just for now, it's okay, what is the major difference between an artery versus a vein? Now, ladies and gentlemen, artery is going to be as okay, we can say it's okay. Now, both of these are going to be blood vessels, but the artery, we can make as okay, takes blood from the heart to an organ. So that's why we call the pulmonary artery a pulmonary artery, because this was a blood vessel which took the blood from the heart to the lungs. Whereas, okay, yes, a vein is mainly as okay, just going to do the opposite. Because that's going to, yes, okay, take blood from an organ and bring it back to the heart, which we just saw here. This was the lungs. The blood vessel that took the blood from the lung and brought it back to the heart was mainly a vein. We call that vein the pulmonary vein because pulmonary is just, it's okay, your lungs. So even as okay, if you look at superior vena cava, the word vena mainly tells you that these are veins, whether it was the superior vena cava or the inferior vena cava. They were both veins because what was it that they did? They brought blood back from different areas of the body, but they brought back to the heart.
I have a question.
Yo,
This might be a little bit irrelevant. How exactly did you spell the valve? Because I wanted to ask earlier, but I didn't dare interrupt.
valve, V-A-L-V-E.
No, the T, the TR, it's a tricep.
Tricuspid. It's
Mhm.
T-R-I-C-U-S-P-I-D.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem there. We're going to come to as okay. We're going to discuss later why in the bam bam boom we call it. It has this name here. Okay. Did you guys get that? So now blood that had returned back from the lungs. Story repeat. But now it's just on the left side. It's now on the left side. Clear? Okay. So from left side, well, okay, it's in the left atrium. Now I just have to go from left atrium into the left ventricle. And that's pretty much going to be, yes, okay, that's going to be a valve between the left ventricle. Oh, sorry, between the left atrium and left ventricle. Okay, that mainly is okay, we'll call that, okay, blood from the left atrium doom, will be able to pass into the left ventricle. And this valve here is okay, has two names. It can go under two names. So it can be called either the mitral valve, M-I-T-R-A-L. Okay, it can be called the mitral valve. Some people may also call it the bicuspid valve. Did you guys get that? So we can mainly say, okay, the valve on the left side between the atrium and the ventricle can be called the mitral valve, or it can be called the bicuspid valve. Okay. So after that, pump blood from left atrium enters into the left ventricle. And from left ventricle, well, okay, guys, it's going to, yes, okay. Oh, shit. Okay. There's going to be, as okay, a valve, which mainly, as okay, is going to take blood from the left ventricle into, okay, our major artery of the body. Now, this major artery of the body is known as the aorta. You may recall me as okay talking about this structure here when we mentioned yes, okay, structures in the mediastinum. When we mentioned yes, okay, structures running in the abdominal cavity. Okay, so mainly because yes, okay, this last valve here, that we yes, okay, okay, opens up into the aorta. That's why that's going to is okay called the aortic valve. Just like the valve that from the right side that opens into the pulmonary artery was called the pulmonary valve. So the valve that takes blood from the ventricles into the blood vessels mainly is okay are going to be named after the blood vessel into which they can open up to and to yes, okay, let the blood flow. But yes, okay, guys, this is how blood mainly yes, okay, flows through the heart. Now, what this aorta here mainly is going to be, well, okay, we can say this is going to be, okay, the major artery of your body. Okay, or let's put it this way. All arteries in your body are going to arise directly or indirectly from the aorta. All arteries, with one exception. There's only going to be one artery in your body which does not directly or indirectly arise off your aorta. And that is the pulmonary artery. Because that arises off from your right-sided chamber or your right ventricle. Okay? Did you guys get that?
Sorry, you said all arteries directly or indirectly arise from the aorta except for
Pulmonary artery.
for which one?
Okay, because if you look at the diagram, yes, okay, where does the pulmonary artery come from? The right side. Okay, so what we mainly can say is that, okay, this aorta here is going to be responsible for is, I mean, it's okay, going to lead into, yes, okay, what we call the systemic circulation. Okay, so the systemic circulation, okay, systemic circulation, yes, okay, starts from aorta. If you talk of the blood vessels, starts from aorta and ends here, where your superior vena cava and inferior vena cava empties into the right atrium. Where we mainly can say, guys, that, okay, yes, what started from the right atrium tricuspid valve, right ventricle, pulmonary valve, pulmonary artery, lungs, or blood flow through the lungs, pulmonary vein. All that can be referred to as the pulmonary circulation. Because that's mainly that's okay going to be responsible for the circulation of blood to and from the lungs. Whereas, okay, as whatever starts after that, right atrium, left atrium, mitral valve, left ventricle, aortic valve, aorta, all the branches and so on and so on that it gives off, which eventually is okay, the other end will become veins, becomes vena cava, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. All that constitutes what we can call the systemic circulation. So based on this, guys, we can mainly say, okay, that the body has two major types of circulations. Pulmonary circulation, which may mean supply and drainage of blood to and from the lungs. Where you can say you have another circulation, which is going to be the systemic circulation, which means it will be as okay, supply of blood to and drainage of blood from all organs and structures in the heart and the body, except from the lungs. Will come under what you call the systemic circulation. So you can just name it. That's okay. Supply to your brain comes under systemic circulation. Supply to your eye, systemic circulation. Supply to all structures in your face, the head and neck. All that is systemic circulation. So supply to your gut, bladder, kidneys, arms, hands, fingers, toes, legs, knees, arms, left, you name those. All those are supplied via the network of blood vessels that is considered to be systemic circulation. Whereas the supply and drainage of blood to and from the lungs is going to be the pulmonary circulation. Clear? Okay. Where we made is okay when we say supply, that's going to be via arteries, drainage, veins. So the network of arteries, organ in between, and then the veins, that whole circle becomes a circulation. Or you can mainly say, okay, what will make a circulation? Whatever comes, goes. Okay, only then can you say that, okay, something is kept in circulation. That goes for anything. Money. If I give you, okay, $20, and you keep that $20 in your wallet and don't spend it, that's not circulation. That's just you stocking up on the money. Circulation is only going to be as okay when you get $20, well, okay, you go and spend it. Because then, okay, whatever came, okay, you went off and you bought it. Okay, let's say it's okay, a nice pair of shoes. Wow. Whatever. Some of you say, Mike, where the hell do you buy shoes for $20? They gotta be nice too. Right, okay. Nowhere. Just an example. But that's circulation. Okay. Well, okay, as well, I'm going to supply you the money, but you just stock it up. Okay, that's not circulation. Okay, it's only going to be circulation that, okay, you can say it's okay, whatever comes, leaves. So that kept in circle. Right. What we can mainly say is, okay, this is the two major systems of circulation in the body. Okay. From the heart to the lungs, and from the lungs back to the heart. That will be pulmonary circulation. From the heart to the structures of the body, and from the structure of the body back to the heart. That will be your systemic circulation. But each circulation is made up of arteries that takes blood from heart to the organ, and set of veins that brings that blood back from the organ back to the heart. Did you guys get that? Okay, ladies. And Dennis. Any questions? Now, some of you will say, okay, yes, Mike, the picture that you just made, that is no Mona Lisa. I know that. And are you really going to be giving us just, okay, a picture of boxes and circles like this on the chest to label? No. If you get a picture of the heart, well, okay, it's probably not going to be a picture of, okay, boxes and circles like this. Well, let's say it's okay like this. So we're going to be, it's okay, unfair not to talk about what do we have here. Okay, guys, so just look. So what we mainly can say is, yes, okay, if we were a drop of blood, we will enter into the right atrium through what was going to be the superior vena cava. So this is your right atrium. So this is our right side. Now this is going to be the left ventricle, or right ventricle, sorry. And in between the right atrium and right ventricle, we have a valve, and we call that one the tricuspid valve. Okay, now blood enters the right atrium. From right atrium passes through the tricuspid valve into the left ventricle, right ventricle, sorry. From the left ventricle, it mainly passes through the pulmonary valve into Now some people will call the pulmonary trunk. Okay, some people will just call the pulmonary artery. There's a reason that we call it a trunk. Okay, and that's mainly because a trunk is mainly going to be an artery. Whenever you see the word trunk is always going to be an artery. Okay, but the reason that we call it a trunk is mainly because, or the reason that we call an artery a trunk mainly is because that further ahead, this trunk will split into XYZ number of branches. Here you can mainly say that your pulmonary trunk splits into what becomes the left pulmonary arteries and your right pulmonary arteries. Which means will be these goes to the left lung, these will go to your right lung. What we already said was going to happen in the lungs was all that carbon dioxide that was brought, not all, but most of the carbon dioxide that was brought back by this blood as it made a trip through the lungs, through the body tissues, is going to be brought back to the lungs so that the heart actually is so that the lungs actually can get rid of it. And we can say, reload the blood with fresh oxygen. We'll talk more about that in the respiratory system. After that, that very blood is going to return back to the left ventricle. As what we call the pulmonary veins. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's they will go here and here, and empty here and here and here. That'll be yes, okay, your left atrium. Now between the left atrium and yes, okay, the main workhorse of the heart, called the left ventricle, is going to be a valve that we mainly is okay, just will call is okay the mitral valve. I don't know why they haven't written here, but this fellow can also be called the bicuspid valve. Oh my God. So why we call these valves the cuspid valves? That's okay. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But it's okay, from your left ventricle, it's okay. The blood pretty much okay is going to be pushed from the left ventricle through the aortic valve into the aorta. Did you guys get that? So that's pretty much okay as how, if you were a drop of blood that you made, is okay, make your journey tick, 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 through the lungs. Oh, sorry, through the heart. Did you guys get that? So you can write down that as a bedtime story and read it to yes, okay, your juniors in the house. They get okay as a good bedtime story and they learn something at the same time. Okay, you guys okay this wonderful castle or the entrance hall. People were standing guards, and at the end of that entrance hall was a big gate called the tricuspid valve. As I approached that gate, the gate opened, and I walked into this even bigger room where at the other end was okay sitting a person to receive me. That new room was called the ventricle. But they say before you were able to just okay meet royalty, I had to go in a shower, clean up, be dusted off from carbon dioxide. Exactly. So that's why I was okay. I still had to pass through. Yes, okay, another gate that opened, which took me to the car wash or whatever. Where I got cleaned off from carbon dioxide. And now was ready to meet royalty. I was transported from that washing area to the left atrium. But before getting to the left ventricle and meet royalty, I had to go through a security check. That security check happened at the mitral valve. And after that, yes, okay, I was good. Mitral valve opened, and okay, as I entered into and met the royalty, whatever. Good. But that's just okay, your journey as a blood drop through the palace of the heart. Any questions?
I have a question. The inferior vena cava, what is that? Where is that? When does that meet? Like with the blood flow? Like does it go from
it just opens into the right atrium there.
Okay, so it goes from the superior to the inferior.
No. It doesn't go from. It's just going to be a separate blood vessel.
Okay.
So my dear, okay, I know. Let me just do it this way. let's say that
They connect in the heart, correct? Because one is coming from one side.
okay, listen, okay.
Okay.
This here is okay, was your right atrium. Did that make sense? Okay. So what we mainly can say is, okay, the fellow that opened up here, or from this side here, is going to be, as okay, be the superior vena cava. Yeah, okay. The other vena cava, mainly as okay, is going to open into the right atrium from here. And that will be as okay, the inferior vena cava. So the superior is called the superior vena cava because it comes from above. Inferior vena cava is called inferior vena cava because it comes from below. But both of them, yes, okay, doop, 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 empties into the right atrium. Okay, dear? So, although, yes, okay, it is not shown in the picture here, well, it is, if this here is, okay, so it was, let's, so, we can say, this here was the opening for the superior vena cava. Then this here is, okay, is your inferior vena cava, which means it's, okay, it just opens here. So you can say that the inferior vena cava that will run like this and empty here.
So they do connect. That was kind of what I was saying. That like
No, they were not connected.
not
No.
the tubes, not the vena cavas, as in they
just empty into
enter
the
the same
room.
place at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So you can say, it's okay. Not only did I show up at the castle via superior vena cava, another class fellow of mine, or as okay, BFF of mine, or whatever, also is okay, met me at that right atrium, but he comes through the inferior vena cava. Okay. Did that make sense? Okay. Now the only difference between the two is just going to be as okay, where in the or from which part of the body does this blood come back from? And that's why I say, for now, just remember the head, all the structures within that. You mentioned them, right? Okay. Your neck, all the structures within that. And your arms, from here as okay to your fingertips. All that blood is going to empty into the right atrium through the superior vena cava. Okay. Any structure from your diaphragm and below that. So you can mainly say, okay, all the structures in the abdomen, in the pelvis, blood from your legs, knees, feet, toes. All that blood that's going to return back to the heart will do so, but it will empty, or it will arrive at the right atrium through the inferior vena cava. Did that make sense? Okay. Now, how the superior vena cava is made and how the inferior vena cava is made, that's one of the last topics that we will talk about in this whole module. But for now, if you just remember this much, okay, yes, it will be easier to comprehend it when we get to that point. Okay? Any questions? So the job of the chambers was mainly as, okay, what was the job of the chambers? Mainly as, okay, just to receive the blood that came. Yeah, okay? Or provide room And that's why they say, okay, that we call them chambers, just because what the word chamber actually means is room. Okay. So that's okay. All of you, that's okay. When you come, you may come one by one, one by one, one by one. But then I say, okay, listen, guys, just go to chamber number 6. Or we can say, okay, classroom number 6. That's where you will meet up. Once you're done with your test or you're due for a break, I will say, okay, listen, guys, that's the door. Get out. Go to the cafeteria, go to your, if you want to pick something up from us, okay, the gas station, Dunkin' Donut, Wendy's, Subway, whatever. You are on your own for the next hour. You can be circulating around, but then it's okay, come back. Okay. Now in the school hour, it's okay, come back to this classroom. In the heart, it's okay, this classroom was only as okay for the first session. Once you have been fueled up, tanked up with food, we need just okay meet on the left side. The left side of chambers. Okay. And take it from there. Because we don't want blood that is loaded with goodies, oxygen, to be mixed with blood that is low in oxygen. Okay. If those two mix up, that's a problem. Okay, guys? Any questions? Okay. So okay, just take your lunch break, get your goodies, and when we come back, we will talk about the valves. Why we call them what we call them, how do we group them together, and how is it that they work. Okay. And yes, okay, then we take it from there. So should I say that I see you guys at yes. Somebody shoot. What's going to be the time?
45.
Huh?
So 45.
Okay, I guess then 12:45 it is. Good. See you guys then.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome, Chap.
you.
Is the heart still beating?
Unfortunately.
Okay. Probably not on Zoom, but yeah. Okay, guys. Let's see what we can do. So we can say it's okay. We have our right side. And we have the left side. We said we had the right atrium and the left atrium. We also said that we have the right ventricle and the left ventricle. Now, guys, what we primarily as okay we'll be talking about is going to be the valves. Okay. Now, this group of valves here that we have marked in orange. Now, if you look at them, they mainly are located between the atria and the ventricle. The atria and the ventricle. And that's why this group of valves can be referred to as the, now some people will say it's okay, the AV valve. Okay, now just to understand, it's okay, what does the AV stands for? A stands for atrial. Oh. Which is atrial. V would be, it's okay, ventricular. And then valve. Okay, so we can either say the AV valves or the atrioventricular valves. Okay, that's pretty much okay based on just okay what we can call their location because it's right between the atria and ventricle, atria and ventricle. Or we can mainly say it's okay, that's going to be the valves that will open to let blood flow from the atria to the ventricle, open to let blood flow from the atria to the ventricle. But this group of valves here, whether it's on the right or on the left, can also be called the cuspid valves. And mainly because, okay, we call them the cuspid valves. That's why the valve on the right side is called the tricuspid valve. Now, the reason that we call it a tricuspid valve is first, yes, okay, cuspid, because it's a cuspid valve. Why did we call it a cuspid valve? Mainly because there was a valve between, or the name for this group of valves between the atria and ventricle, atria and ventricle. Whereas, okay, the word tri here just means three. Okay. And why is that? Mainly because, okay, when we look at this valve, it actually has 1, 2, 3 cusps or flaps. That's going to open and close. Open and close. Did you guys get that? Whereas the cuspid valve on the left side, now this one here is okay, goes under two names. It actually has two names associated to it. One is going to be as okay what we can call bicuspid. Now, why do they call it a cuspid? Because it was a cuspid valve. Where the word bi, in this instance, I mean, it's okay, we mean two. So the reason that they call it the bicuspid valve, because this is going to be the valve that only has 1, 2 flaps, or leaflets, or cusps. That mainly just open and close, open and close. Did you guys get that? Now your bicuspid valve is bicuspid valve, yes, okay. may also be known as the mitral valve. Okay, so your bicuspid valve can also be called the mitral valve. Did you get that? But together, this group of valves here can be referred to as the AV valves, mainly as just the abbreviation of what we call the atrioventricular valves. Or they can be called the cuspid valves. Did you guys get that? So what can be a question that you can be asked? What's the name of the left cuspid valve? What's the name of the right cuspid valve? Or what's the name of your left AV valve or right AV valve? Something like that, right? So what's the name of the right AV valve? Tricuspid valve. What's the name of the left AV valve? Bicuspid or mitral valve. Did you guys get that? These are the easy questions you can be asked. Okay, don't worry, I tell everything, no worries. Okay, guys? Not the questions, but I've explained everything. And after that, you can just yes, okay, figure out your answers. Okay, guys. Then what about the other group of valves? Okay, as all this, okay, anatomically, yes, okay, still going to be up here, but just yes, okay, make it understanding we mean is okay, see, it's okay, the valves, the mainly is okay, will take the blood from the ventricles into the blood vessels. Now these valves, yes, okay, as a group, when we take them as a group and say, okay, what do we call these valves together? As a group or as a set or pair, they will be referred to as the semi-lunar valves. So we can make as, okay, the valves that leads blood, opens up to let blood leave the ventricles. Together can be referred to as the semi-lunar valves. Whereas, okay, as on the left side, that valve is going to be called the pulmonary valve. Why? Because, as okay, it opens up into what we call the pulmonary artery. Whereas on the left side, or we can say, okay, the left semi-lunar valve, what did that, or what did we call that one? We call that one the aortic valve. Right, okay. And why could we call it the aortic valve? Mainly, yes, okay, because it mainly opened into the main artery of the body, known as the aorta. So here, yes, okay, the easy version of these questions could be, yes, okay, what is the name of the left semilunar valve? Aortic valve. What's the name of the right semilunar valve? Pulmonary valve. Did you guys get that? Okay. Now, ladies and Dennis, it doesn't really matter which valve you're talking about. Whether it's the AV valves, whether it is the semilunar valves, whether it's the valves on the right, or whether it's the valves on the left. Clear? Okay. All of them just got one single function. But let us just look at it. And what I mainly said was, okay, we can make this, okay, compare valves like doors or gateways between room and room on the hard we call chamber to chamber. Did that make sense? Now just use common sense, please. If you want to, that's okay, go from one room to another. Do you want the door to be open or closed?
Open.
Open. So what that mainly would mean is that, okay, yes, when the valve opens, what would that cause? That blood mainly is okay, will go from one chamber to the next. Did that make sense? Okay. Now in the heart, what is that flow going to be like? In the heart is going to be the blood in the atrium, leaves the atrium and goes to the ventricle. Right? Where that was from the right side, from the right atrium to the right ventricle. Whether that was on the left side, from left atrium into the left ventricle. Did you guys get that? But that's not the actual function. The actual function is actually going to be as okay when the valve closes. That's primarily as okay why they are there. Otherwise, there would just have been an opening where okay, blood could leave from atrium into ventricle, from atrium into ventricle. But the actual function of the valve applies or comes when the valve closes. So the actual job of the valves is going to be to prevent backflow of blood. Now, what do we know that a normal flow of blood would be? From atria to ventricle, from atria to ventricle. And from ventricle into the pulmonary artery on the right, and from ventricle into the aorta on the left. Clear? Okay. But that was only going to happen, yes, okay, when this valve was open, blood flows like this. When this valve was open, blood flows like this. When this valve here was open, blood flows like this. When this valve is open, blood flows like this. Prevent backflow. Okay. Now, what we mainly mean by backflow is that if blood went this way or blood went this way. Or on the other hand, we can say, okay, blood went this way or blood went this way. That will be backflow. Clear? Okay. And what is actually going to prevent that? Well, okay, that's going to be as okay when the valves are closed. So that's the primary job of the valves, to prevent that, okay, blood that entered into the ventricle from the atrium can return back to that atrium. Clear? Okay. Blood that entered the blood vessel from a ventricle would not be able to return back into that ventricle. Did you guys get that? Pretty much okay. Prevent that backflow of blood to return to the chamber where it just came from. Did that make sense? Now, if that happens, that's mainly because there's a problem with the valve. Okay? Okay. You may have people with problems with the valves where it's okay, blood from the ventricles may return back into the atrium. Or blood from the blood vessels, pulmonary artery or aorta, returns into the ventricles. That's because that those valves that mainly is okay, guard those patches between the chambers or the chambers and the blood vessels ain't working. Did you guys get that? Okay. But no matter what, whichever valve you're talking about, their primary job was to prevent backflow of blood. Okay. You may or mean, when valve is open, molar chaos, blood flows from chamber to chamber, from atrium to ventricle, from ventricle to blood vessel. Or when that valve closed, well, that will mainly mean that, okay, blood is not going to be returned back from the ventricle into the atrium or from the blood vessel back into the ventricle. And mainly by preventing backflow, yes, okay, it ensures that blood flows in one direction rather than go like that. Did you guys get that? Did you guys get that?
Yep,
Okay. Yes, my dear.
I got it.
Okay, good. See. Now, just one little thing. Now, what we mainly can say is, and that's mainly going to be just okay for your EV valves, but let's just say you can say, okay, right atrium, left atrium. On the other hand, we can see right ventricle and left ventricle. And this pretty much okay only will apply to our EV valves. Which is bicuspid, not tricuspid, and bicuspid. Now we can mainly say it's okay that these valves, as okay, what do they have? They have their flaps. Now what we mainly have from, yes, okay, the ventricle surface of the flap or cusps is going to be these string-like structures. Okay. So these string-like structures here, okay, they're going to be referred to as cordia tendinae. Now I have a little cheat for this one here. But what they actually is okay will be doing is that inside the ventricles, the inside of the chamber of the ventricles, and please keep in mind, guys, okay, we have them here too. On the inside of the ventricles, do we have these small finger-like projections? They actually is okay are going to be referred to as papillary muscles. And what your cordia tendinae actually is okay are going to be is, we can mean it says okay, attached to these papillary muscles.
Sorry, you said the cordae tendinae, is that those are the names of the clasps within the valve?
No.
Oh.
That's not what I said, my dear. The cordia tendinae are mainly, as okay, going to be string-like structures. Okay, where they're going to extend to. Let's just look at it in this video. Let's say, okay, this was your NEAV valve. And this was the cusp of an AV valve, or cuspid valve. Okay. Up here, do we have the atrium? And we can make this as okay, down here. That's okay, that's where we have the ventricle. Okay. Now, what we actually will see that's going to be as okay on the inside of your ventricle is going to be as okay, these finger-like projections here. And made as okay because they appear like small fingers. Okay, that's why they were called as okay, we call papillary. And what are they mainly as okay? Just muscular projections. Did you get that, dear?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Okay. Now, what is it that we have between the ventricular surface of your valve? Or let's say it's okay, the cusp of the valve. And these papillary muscles are going to be as okay, these string-like structures. And they would be as okay, what we will call the cordia tendinae. Okay, now if you just look at the word tendinae or tendinae, or just this part of tendon. Okay. Tendon. Mainly as okay, clings with the word tendon, right? Did you see the cheat, my dear? So what is that the cordia tendinae are? Mainly as okay, just tendon-like structures between the cusps of the valve and the papillary muscle, which is just me, okay, just finger-like projections of the myocardium in the ventricles. Did you get that? Clear? Okay. So just like tendons, just okay, went from muscle onto bones. Did you get that? Just as tendons went from muscles onto bones, here does your chordae tendineae goes from the flaps of the valve onto the papillary muscles. Okay, but please, 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 these chordae tendineae here are only found between the AV valves or cuspid valves and the papillary muscles. Okay, you do not find them with the aortic valve on the right side, left side, sorry, and pulmonary valve on the left. It's mainly there's going to be a connection between the AV valves, cuspid valves, and the papillary muscles in the ventricles. Or yes, guys, let's look at it here. So dear students, what do we see here? An atrium and an atrium, right? What do we see here? This, for instance, or this, for instance, yes, okay, is your ventricles. And what do we have between the atria and the ventricle? An AV valve and an AV valve. And what do we find inside the ventricle? This, for instance, here, this, for instance, here, okay, this, for instance, here. Or even this, this, and this are your papillary muscles. Where this mainly is, okay, these structures here is, okay, mainly is, okay, just makes up your chordae tendineae. The mainly is, okay, we'll see is, okay, are attached onto the ventricular side, to the side of the ventricle of your AV valves that guards the atrium and ventricle. Atrium and ventricle. Did that make sense? Or if not, just look here. So here is, okay, this area here. Oops, no. What the? What the hell? I guess I have to reopen. Because it's not going to work, or it's okay. The next thing that I want to show you guys. Okay. Let's go back and share. Sharing is caring, right? Okay, guys, look here. So this area here, that's your atrium. This here is your ventricle. This being is okay, your AV valve. So this are your cardiac tendinae attached onto the papillary muscle. Or if you look at in life, this is the valve. These here are the cardiac tendinae, and this fellow down here, or here, or here, is your papillary muscles. Did you guys get that? How is the heart going now? Good. Now just look at this thing here, okay? Now I didn't choose the music. It's not me who chose the music. I just found something and said, okay, maybe it's okay. That is interesting. Good. Now you can actually see the cardiac tendinae here. Oh, let's see. So these structure that flips up, that's actually the valves. So this is chamber, 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 chamber. Yeah. That's the cardiac tendinae. Slow motion. So that's what the ultrasound is going to look like. So yeah. Okay, guys. So yeah, let's see. Okay, maybe I just be able to just okay smuggle in your circulations. Oh, let me put it this way, guys. Now, if you guys understand this, 90% of heart is over. Sinka. No, let's take the circulation. That's fine. Circulations of blood. Now we made SOK already said that we had 3 major types of circulations. Or 2 major types. One was what we call the pulmonary circulation. Other one would be the systemic circulation. Now, guys, just to keep in mind that, okay, pulmonary circulation, we can make as, okay, say, it starts at the right atrium. From right atrium, via bicuspid valve into right ventricle. From right ventricle into the via the pulmonary valve into pulmonary artery or trunk to lungs. From lungs via pulmonary valve, via pulmonary vein. And that's it. That was your pulmonary circulation. Now, on the other side, generally that's okay when we say systemic circulation. Now, the reason that they call it systemic circulation because it means it's okay, supplies. You can pretty much say it's okay. All other systems of the body, though except from the lung. Okay. Or we can mainly say, okay, that starts at the left ventricle, no, sorry, left atrium. From left atrium, we go via bicuspid valve, which we also can call as, okay, the mitral valve. That's going to lead into the left ventricle. On left ventricle into, oh, it's okay, through the aortic valve into the aorta. Okay. Now, what mainly as okay happens to the blood after this is mainly as okay dependent upon as okay which organ in which system is it that it goes to. So we can just say it's okay, any organ or gland will be supplied by its artery. which at the other end, yes, okay, becomes a vein, which ultimately, yes, okay, ends up in either the inferior vena cava or may end up in the superior vena cava.
Sorry, for that last part you said from the aorta, it goes into whatever organ it's going to go to,
Exactly.
and then from there back into one of those, the inferior.
Exactly. Or depending upon which organ you're talking about, right? Okay, a structure. Did that make sense? And from there, it's okay, dump into right atrium, and the circle medius. Okay, just repeats. Okay. Now, this was generally is okay for any organ. But, what we also can say that, okay, is from the systemic circulation, is there going to be, yes, okay, what we may refer to as, okay, as a specialized circulation. His name is not specialized circulation. Okay. Okay. For me, that's okay. It originates off from your systemic circulation. Actually, that's okay right from the very beginning of the aorta. Is it that this specialized circulation here arises? And as I said, his name is not specialized circulation. His name is actually going to be the coronary circulation. And this is actually going to be, as okay, we can say the circulation of blood to the myocardium. So the myocardium, or the muscle of the heart. Yes, okay. That's a spoiled brat because it has its own individual circulation known as the coronary circulation. Okay. Now, first of all, yes, okay. Why do we call it coronary circulation? Because what you guys will realize as we go and talk about circulation of blood to different organs, a primary, yes, okay, supply of blood to different organs. That supply of that blood vessel, that supply, that organ is going to be named in accordance to that organ. We just had an example earlier. Pulmonary circulation, pulmonary lung supplies the lung. Renal artery supplies the kidneys. Okay. This and that cerebral artery supplies the brain. Optic artery supplies the eye. Things like that. So why is okay a special name for the a name that doesn't say, why couldn't we just call it myocardial circulation? Now, guys, when they first opened or looked at, okay, as what we now call, yes, okay, the coronary circulation. When they first looked at it, they said, well, okay, if this here is the heart, these blood vessels here that makes us okay, the coronary circulation, actually is okay, ran around the heart in a way that it appeared like, okay, as the heart was wearing a crown. So mainly because it looks like a crown. That's why they call it a coronary circulation. Okay. And yes, okay, what mess is it that this coronary circulation may lead to? But ladies and the gentlemen, the coronary circulation is okay, is very straightforward. Okay, straightforward. Because okay, what we mainly have is okay. Now let's just say it's okay. What I will name over here is going to be the right. What I will name over here is going to be it's okay. So what the coronary circulation means is going to is okay. B is going to have okay 2 major arteries. Okay. So off your aorta, yes, okay, that's mainly going to be yes, okay, 2 major coronary arteries that arises off the aorta. The one that runs onto the right side is just going to be referred to as the right main coronary artery. Whereas the one that runs onto the left is just going to be referred to as the left main coronary artery. Okay. Now, guys, what your right main coronary artery is going to do is going to just okay give off 2 major branches. Now, one is going to be as okay what we will call the marginal artery. This other branch here. Now may go under 2 names, but what is going to be common in those 2 names is posterior. Now, what does it mean that it is posterior? That mainly means that it's going to be running. Why do they call it a posterior? Mainly because it's going to be running on the back side of the heart, or the posterior side of the heart. Now, the thing is, okay, where some people may call it the posterior this artery or the posterior that artery, is that it can be called the posterior descending artery. And why do they call it a descending artery? Mainly because it runs down like this on the back side of the heart. Yep, okay. But, Another name that it also may go under is going to be the posterior interventricular artery. And why would somebody call it a posterior interventricular artery? Well, okay, it's obvious from the name. Because you can say, okay, you have one ventricle here. Let's say the right ventricle. Let's just say right now we are looking at the back side of the heart. We have another ventricle here, which would be a left ventricle. Right? But this artery, I mean, is going to run down in between these two ventricles here. So that's why they call it the interventricular, but on the back side. So posterior interventricular artery. But the reason that they also call it descending, because that's okay. On the front, that's okay, we have the right main coronary artery. But what actually is okay may do is give that branch that runs on the back and then descends in between the right and left ventricles. So that's why. For me, it's okay because it runs down. That's why some people may call it a posterior descending artery. Where, okay, since because it runs in between the right and left ventricle, in between the ventricles, that's why they call it the in between ventricular pertaining to the ventricles. An artery because it's an artery. Okay, guys. What we may have on the left main coronary artery. Now, this left main coronary artery, just like a right or just like its right counterpart, is also going to give off two major branches. Now, this fellow here is going to be what we call the circumflex artery. And the other main artery that pretty much gives all right at its origin is going to be a fellow that runs down like this. Now, when I say run down like this, that should give you a clue. So it's mainly going to just also be a form of descending artery. Okay. But what this fellow here is also going to have two names. But what's going to be common in those two names is there's going to be anterior and artery. So why do we call it anterior? Mainly because it's going to be running at the anterior surface of the heart. So you can mainly say, you open the chest, you open the pericardium, you go into the pericardium, and you see the heart right there in front of you. Probably that's one of the major arteries that you will see popping right up in your face is going to be this fellow here. Okay. And what would that be called? You can call it the anterior descending artery. Now, why do we call it the anterior descending artery? If you look at its course, it descends down like this. on the anterior surface of the heart. Now, what could be the other name that it goes under? It can also be referred to as the anterior my God. Interventricular artery. So what does that mean? There, yes, okay, we have the right ventricle. Let's say it's okay, we have the left ventricle. And right now it's okay, we are looking at the front side of the right and left ventricles. And yes, guys, this anterior interventricular artery was called the anterior interventricular artery because it runs down on the anterior surface in between the right and left ventricles. Did you guys get that?
So just to clarify,
Mhm.
the posterior descending artery that's running in the back between the right ventricle and the left ventricle, and
Exactly.
and then the anterior is also between the right and left ventricle, but from the front.
Exactly.
And all of these are stemming from the aorta, correct? Like all of the the different arteries.
But okay, you can say your coronary circulation. Now, if you look at your aorta as it springs off from the heart. Okay, so we can say, okay, if this is your aorta, let's say this here is okay, was your aortic valve. Right off your aorta, that's okay, springs off like this. Your left main coronary artery on the left side, and just like this, the right main coronary artery. Did that make sense? Right at the very beginning of your left main coronary artery springs off the anterior descending or anterior interventricular artery. That left main coronary artery may continue. And pretty much, okay, it's at the boundary of your left ventricle. That's where it means it's okay going to go. And there's actually going to be this artery that circles around the outer surface of your ventricle or left ventricle. That's okay, goes on to the backside. Backside and also is okay, descends down like this. That would be the circumflex artery. Of your right main coronary artery. Now that takes a longer extent, a longer course. Gives off what we call the marginal artery, which actually going to run on the inferior border of your right ventricle. What it will do is, whereas okay, yes, off your right main coronary artery, there's going to be this branch that actually runs onto the back side of the heart. And on the back side of the heart, it means runs down your your right and left ventricle. And it's going to be your posterior descending or interventricular artery. Just see. Did you get that?
Yes, and the main coronary arteries are attached to the aorta, correct?
They pretty much spring off the aorta, exactly.
And then from those stem the other.
Exactly. Are the major branches, yes.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh my Lord. Okay. Let me see. I should be able to. If not, yes, okay. I don't have. But okay, guys, let's try. Be able to look at it together. No. Stop share. Stop share. Okay, so if you look in your book, you look in your book on the first diagram of your heart. Figure 11.1. Yes, that one on the bottom of the page. Or this fellow here. Now, this is an anterior view of your heart. Okay, guys? Okay? That's just okay. If you open up the chest of a person, this is where you're going to, okay. And open the pericardium, yes, okay, this is where you will see. At least that's okay, this part here, okay. Okay. Now it's going to be, yes, okay, a little hard, yes, okay, mark the right and left. Let me just move this fellow out of the way. It's closer. Okay. You guys. So this dude here, this is your aorta. So what we have here, this is going to be, yes, okay, your right main coronary artery. So it's going to run down here. And down here is okay, give the marginal artery. Clear, okay? Although it's okay, not clearly shown here, but it's okay. Down here is going to give off a branch that's going to run on the back. And okay, as descend between the right and left ventricle, which will be your posterior descending artery. Okay? Now all this here of the heart, that's mainly, that's okay, the left ventricle. So what you mainly see here, this little fellow here. I mean, it's okay, it goes like this. Behind this is your left main coronary artery. Okay. Now what I said was that, okay, yes, pretty much okay, in the immediate, yes, okay, of your left main coronary artery was going to give down this branch that runs here. The anterior descending or the anterior interventricular artery. Later on the left, this left main coronary artery is going to give a branch that circles onto the back of the heart and down. which will be the circumflex, but mainly because it circles around the left side of the heart. That's why they call it a circumflex. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the circumflex artery may also be referred to as the widow maker. What is a widow?
Someone who lost her partner, her spouse, her husband.
Spouse? Okay. So God forbid if my wife dies, am I going to be a widow?
No, you're gonna be a single man. Sorry.
Is that a widower?
Yes. Then you are a widower. So it's only going to be as okay, the female partner that's left behind that is called a widow. So the circumflex artery make a lot of widows. Or we can say, okay, that's the main artery that leads to heart attacks. Because the primary is okay when these coronary arteries here is okay get clogged by atherosclerotic plaques. Or it's okay, a big or a small embolus comes from somewhere else and gets stuck in there. That the myocardium doesn't receive the blood with the oxygen that it needs. Right? And that's mainly as okay what leads to as okay what we call a heart attack or myocardial infarction. Now, why the arteries on the left side? Mainly because 90% plus of the work done by the heart is done by the left side. So that's why it's okay what any cardiologist would like is that okay, yes, well, you can say, as long as the left side is doing well, okay, we can say, okay, Hakun, okay, not that much to worry about. Because 90% plus of the work done by the heart is done by the left side. Okay. But when I was, that's okay, taught the anatomy of the thorax, our teacher said, yes, okay, we call this fellow or this circumflex artery here the widowmaker. Or he mainly said it this way, and without exaggeration, that this artery here has turned a lot of unhappy wives into happy widows. And with that said, yes, okay. With this quote, yes, okay. Let's finish it off here and join the class. Okay, start the conversation tomorrow. Okay, guys. So good. So we're doing good. So tomorrow we may just okay talk about okay how does the heart work the way that it does. PPP. Some two of my favorite points because students usually confuse them when I ask them about those things a couple of months later. They mix them up. That's fun. So see you guys tomorrow with a continuation of the heart.
I just had a quick question. Will the
Yes.
Zoom will the Zoom
I send you the link there.
Okay, or can I access it on Brightspace or
Well, you
is
still
it?
need a passcode, I guess.
Oh, okay.
No problem.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.